Hi, in this video, I'm going to teach you the secrets to enjoying a delicious hormone-balancing dinner so you can feel better while minimizing problems like bloating, gas, digestive issues, and poor sleep. You're also going to learn how to eat well so you can lose weight easily without struggling with after-dinner hunger or cravings. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do, what you need to avoid, and how to enjoy your dinner. So let's get started with what you need to do. My first tip is at dinner time, it's really important to pay attention to your portion sizes. At the end of the day, when you're tired, your self-control will suffer, and it's really easy to overeat. When you're eating with others, it's also really easy to let their portion sizes affect how much you're eating. So be mindful of how much you're serving up and eating. And here's why this is so important, because during perimenopause and menopause, our digestive system slows down at night, right? So when we overeat, our body tends to store the undigested food as fat. Eating too much also leads to bloating and gas and overheating, which will affect your sleep. So here's the thing, when you eat well during the day, like we've talked about, by not skipping meals and having the right breakfast and lunch, you won't be as hungry at night. You can eat more lightly and you'll find you'll sleep better and wake up feeling full of energy, ready to start your day. My next tip is fill up on hormone-balancing cruciferous veggies. So these are the leafy green veggies that we talked about: the bok choy, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale, and baby spinach. These veggies are very high in the phytonutrients your body needs to help balance your hormones. They also contain soluble and insoluble fiber to help you feel satisfied and keep your digestive system healthy. And because they're low in calories, you can be really generous with how much you eat. 3 to 4 cups is a really good guide. And my last tip is it's important to be flexible with your dinner, especially if you're eating with a family. Now, here's the thing, this is important. On the eating plan, you don't need to cook a separate meal in the evening for yourself. The key is simply being aware of minimizing your starchy carbohydrates, such as things like the potatoes, the sweet potato, rice, pasta, and bread. So if you make your regular meals for the family, just be mindful of your starchy carbohydrate serving. And I'm going to explain more about this next, which brings me to step 2, what you need to avoid. So my first tip is you want to avoid the starchy carbohydrates with dinner. So here's what you need to know, and this is important. At night, our digestive system slows down, so it's a lot harder to digest the starchy foods. If you eat these with dinner, you're going to be more prone to storing those calories as body fat, especially around the tummy. Now, here's the thing, avoiding these starchy carbs at night only works if you're eating well during the day by including a small portion of high fiber, slow digesting carbs at breakfast and lunch like we've talked about. Otherwise, if you go carb-free during the day, then at night you'll be ravenous and unable to resist the potatoes or pasta or bread. Makes sense, right? So if you follow the eating plan as I've laid it out for you, you'll be as good as gold. Now, there is one caveat to this. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you'll need to be eating some starchy carbs in the evening for your protein requirements. And this has been accommodated for you on the plan. Also, it's important to know that the dinner recipes on the eating plan are family friendly. However, they are starchy carb free, right? So if you make the recipes for everyone, you just need to add in some of these starchy carbs for the others, but not yourself, all right? Some of the most popular recipes on the plan are things like the butter chicken, the Thai beef, and the cauliflower cashew curry. There's lots of other delicious choices, so make sure you check those out. My next tip is you want to be really mindful of your alcohol consumption. Now, many women find themselves drinking more during perimenopause, having wine at night to unplug from the stress of their hormonal symptoms. And the problem is, once our hormones start changing, it's harder to metabolize the toxins in alcohol, which means we'll gain weight more easily, and our body will struggle to process those toxins. It's going to affect your digestion, your sleep, and your energy levels the next day. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up alcohol completely. That's the good news. But it does mean thinking about some guidelines for how you're drinking each week. Now, I find women usually fall into 3 groups. The first group is drinking several nights a week, sometimes every night. And if you're one of these women, I want you to think about gradually reducing the number of nights you're drinking and how much. Try to have back-to-back alcohol-free days, which will give your body time to recover, help you get a better night's sleep. And because you're feeling better, it's so much easier to say no to the wine or spirits. I've helped thousands of women get their drinking under control. So if you need more help with this, please just message me, all right? The second group of women tend to be weekend drinkers. But the problem is they might have 3 or 4 or more drinks each night on the weekend. And this stresses your body and it's a big factor in your weight gain. So I want you to have a think about setting some boundaries around how many nights and how much you're drinking ahead of time. That's the secret. And set a goal of sticking with this for 3 weeks. If you can do this for 3 weeks, you'll be amazed how much better you feel, right? And the cravings for a drink will dramatically subside, especially because you're feeling so good. And the third group are the occasional or social drinkers, and that's totally okay. I usually find 2 to 3 drinks a week won't slow your progress. And my last tip is you need to watch out for snacking after dinner. And this tends to be an emotional eating habit, more than feeling hungry, right? You might be used to having something sweet after dinner, or you find later in the evening when you're relaxed and you're tired and your self-control is low, you start emotionally craving chocolate or cookies or whatever your go-to is, right? It might even be overeating healthy foods. The key is to recognize what's going on and that you're not really hungry for food. You're trying to soothe the stressful feelings by eating foods that make you feel good, right? Now, this is a topic for another training, but my key tip here is thinking about the root problem and finding other ways to feel better apart from food. It might be a shower, a foot massage, listening to a meditation, or reading your favorite book, right? And if you absolutely need a snack after dinner, try something like a small serve of the Greek yogurt, right? With the berries and a little vanilla or caramel stevia if you like it sweet. Lastly, let's look at step 3, how to enjoy your dinner. And my first tip is learn how to adapt your family recipes. This is really easy to do. You just need to make your usual dinner, but when you go to serve up, avoid putting the starchy carbs on your plate, right? Instead, increase the leafy greens. Now, it might take a little practice and discipline, but it's a great way of being able to enjoy your favorite meals. If you're serving a rice or a pasta dish, there's some great alternatives like spaghetti squash, cabbage noodles, cauliflower rice, or shirataki noodles. My next tip is it's important to eat a variety of protein types at dinner because protein adds a lot of flavor to your meal and it fills you up. And it's also important to know that during menopause, we don't digest or metabolize protein as easily. So you need a lot of variety for a wide range of nutrients. Now, if you find, as many women do, that red meat protein becomes harder to digest during menopause, increase your fish. Salmon is Salmon is really good because it's high in omega-3s, right? And you might also like to try some of the vegetarian recipes, which brings me to my last tip: experiment with new foods. We all tend to get into a rut with the foods we eat, and of course we have our preferences and favorites, but during menopause it's important to be open to trying new foods, right? And being willing to experiment because many of these foods have excellent hormone balancing benefits. So take a look through the recipes and choose 1 or 2 new foods to test out. You might be pleasantly surprised, and by increasing your nutrient variety, you'll support your hormonal health. All right, so let's recap. In this video, you've learned why you need to keep an eye on your portion sizes at night and fill up on the leafy green veggies, why you need to watch out for starchy carbs and alcohol and snacking at night, and how to enjoy your dinner by adapting your family-friendly recipes and experimenting with new foods. If you follow these steps, you'll find making a healthy dinner really easy, and it will become an everyday part of your routine. So you don't have to stress about what to eat. You'll be organized and you'll be on track. So here's one last tip before we finish up. Making changes to your dinner is one of the most effective ways to improve your symptoms and help you lose weight. But because dinner is very much a habit, and because at the end of the day, when you're usually tired, it does take some effort and energy, it's really hard to get that sort of motivation to prepare your dinner at night. So being organized and prepared ahead of time makes a big difference, right? And just also don't forget to reduce the starchy carb portion too. Don't try to do everything all at once, but just go step by step. And if you have any questions or you need more help, just message me.